I just wanted to preface this by saying that some of these YouTube channels, because they need to make an income, they need clicks and they need subscribers, they need likes, and they may not be making that video because they have a passion for the sport, or maybe they have a passion for the sport, but at that moment they might have been thinking, well, I have to make another video, well, let's go ahead. Or they might be looking at what's like the latest news, what's going around, the biggest items, and they'll make a video about that because they think that's where their income's going to come from, someone's career. And it's better to be sort of think carefully about what you're watching. I hope you enjoy this video. Today I'm making a Formula 1 and Formula 2 YouTubers tier list. I've got my tier list here. These are the YouTube channels I'll be ranking, and I'm using this tier maker, S, A, B, C, D. Oh wait, I'm not using this. That's not my sort of thing. This is my own rating system. Firstly we have King, then Prince, White Collar, Orange Vest, Homeless. This one doesn't have a name, it's very self-explanatory. Another level below that, because I don't want to upset people or, have people complain about me, so I just left it blank. I didn't give it a name, but it's below this level. Not many videos are going to go there, and not many videos are going to go up here either. Most of them are going to be in the white collar, orange vest, homeless sort of area. Maybe even, I think that this category here is like very poor, really spoils the reputation of Formula 1. So let's get into it. Let's start with Lewis Everett. Lewis Everett was independent, shall I say, F1 YouTuber. He had good analysis. The graphics weren't all that good, but he seemed to stop making videos, so I'm going to put him way over here. I probably would have put him in the Prince category. I just thought, I liked his post-race analysis. He's very thoughtful about it, but he doesn't seem to make videos anymore. He does talk a lot about football, if that's your thing. Chef F1, nothing particularly amazing. They like chatting about Formula 1, that's all I can say about it. Just going to put him in the orange vest category for now. ESPN, they sometimes have chats about Formula 1. It'll come up in your recommended videos or in your news feed or whatever it is. I think it was just boring. I don't want to talk about it too much. They just yap on and on about the same things. F1 Visualized is an interesting one. They'll do a high-speed graphic that shows the race that unfolded. They'll go from lap to lap. It's high speed. It only lasts about 1:20. I think it's interesting enough if you watch it. It's brief, mercifully brief. It's not some half an hour slog. So for me, F1 Visualized, I'll put it in the Prince category. It's not going to be top of the Prince category. Missed Apex is a podcast that, well, they talk a lot. Now, it's interesting because they get Joe Soward on. However, I feel that, some of these rare and obscure podcasters, they'll get a very high-profile guest. It surprises you, they'll have, 10,000 or 5,000 subscribers. I think Missed Apex has about 12 or 13, and yet they get really high-profile guests on. I have to be honest, sometimes watching this channel is quite cringe-worthy. I feel that talking to Joe Soward exposes the lack of knowledge the presenters on this channel. I don't think the discussion is very good. It's interesting to have Joe Soward, I suppose, but he seems very condescending towards the people that he interviews him. I don't know, I'll just leave it in the homeless category. Now, with Formula 1 YouTubing, there's a lot of sort of news channels that, post very unreliable information, like, they'll have bold headings and they'll have a big photo of a prominent driver or a prominent team boss, and they'll make a big statement like, thanks to Williams, confirmed, when it's not confirmed, it's not happened, or Mick Schumacher to Alpine for 2025, confirmed. Formula One madness is one of those. When you actually watch the videos themselves, you'll see what looks like stock footage, either footage from a filming day, footage from a test session, a practice session, and then a voiceover that's probably automated. These are the worst kind of videos for F1. They're really spoiling the reputation. Probably not as much as this brown category here, but it's definitely going in this category here. They jump the gun on what might happen, and sometimes their predictions don't turn out to be true. So that's putting it mildly. This is, I think, called Alonso clips. It's just a few clips taken off the internet. It's not related to Fernando Alonso in any way. It's just trying to ride the back of his popularity. So I'm just going to put this in this low category here. Here's another YouTube channel with Fernando Alonso on the thumbnail. But this is Rick's F1 Addiction. He's sort of entertaining. He does have some decent insights. I think he talks about the same topic too much. He does swear a lot. You know, F this, F that. I know some people like that, but I don't. So I think on the balance, some good, some bad. So I'll just go in the orange vest category. I don't think his videos are particularly insightful. Sometimes they are. I think his video about 2025 driver predictions was good. But sometimes he's just talking about Max Verstappen fans versus Lewis Hamilton fans. And especially me personally, I'm just sick of hearing about it. So I'll leave it at that. Now we go to Sky Sports F1. So to me that's quite a very up and down sort of thing. I think there's a lot of hyperbole. Because they're in the paddock, sometimes they pretend that they have more knowledge than they do about what might be happening regarding the driver market or upcoming news. Or sometimes they have good chats. Sometimes, of course, they have more access to the drivers, so that's good in a way. In other ways, mundane. So I don't think this is really one of the best Formula One YouTube channels. I feel that there's nothing particularly interesting that they talk about. Obviously, because it's such a big company, they're so prominent, they have to be careful in what they say, and they are careful. Sometimes there's good discussion, so it's a bit of good and bad. I'll just put it in the white collar category. Sometimes it's a good place to get the latest updates or whatever. This video is not only dedicated to Formula 1 YouTubers, but Formula 2 YouTubers as well, and there are a couple. Of all the Formula 2 YouTubers, I'll have to say, Harrison Turpet Motorsport is very good channel, an excellent channel. He really likes Formula 2. He does good videos about the post-race driver ratings. Sometimes he does other videos, teammate comparisons, or occasionally he talks about F3 or F1. Mostly it's about F2. And he's the first and one of the few YouTube channels I'm putting straight up in the King category. Now, I'm going to sort these in a bit order later. Right, for now there's not many up there, so I'll just leave it as it is. This is Champagne Podium. Champagne Podium is another one of those would-be news channels that have very big headlines. When you click on the video, there's only not much substance to it. These channels sort of ride the wave of Formula 1, looking for popularity or income. I'm just going to put them here. And then this channel is called Formula 1 Australian Grand Prix. It pretends to be the Formula 1 official channel, but it's not. Some interviews from when they come to Australia, the Australian Grand Prix. So I'm just putting that here because there's nothing interesting, just some copies of interviews. Now, This is one of the most prominent YouTube channels discussing Formula One. And so we've got Matt and Tommy, and Matt is Matt Gallagher, who sometimes appears on the Sky Sports F1 YouTube channel. They have 500,000 subscribers. Their videos get lots of comments, lots of likes, lots of views. I find their channel to be sort of moderately entertaining, and a little bit not too insightful. I think it's fast paced. I think that Matt and Tommy bounce off each other well. Matt is more the dominant male. Tommy is a bit more the beta male, if you like, but that dynamic between them works. They could be more insightful, but they do love F1. I'll put them in the white collar category. I'll put them above Sky Sports F1. One to watch, but not an amazing channel, like terribly deep into it, and sometimes they're a little bit frivolous, especially with the memes. Inside F2. So this is another YouTube channel dedicated to F2. They're sort of a podcast. They have very good guests that are in the know, such as Alex Brundle, Chris McCarthy. These sort of people chat, and the regular hosts are also pretty good. They're knowledgeable about F2. They genuinely enjoy the series. So a lot of analysis there. So I'm just going to put them in the Prince category. Oh no, wrong one. Sky World is sort of like, feels like a bit, what can I say, paparazzi. Like they like to have interviews or with famous sports people. I don't find it particularly interesting. I'll leave it at that, so I'll just put them here. I think Missed Apex is better than Sky World and ESPN. So the Delta is an interesting one. It's basically very independent. It's a guy, and he just makes pre-race and post-race predictions. He has this thing called the Voodoo Wheel. He seems to think you can influence the outcome of a Grand Prix by spinning the Voodoo Wheel, and I don't know, it's a little bit of a offbeat, but it's alright. I'll put it in the Orange Vest category. I don't think it's particularly, I don't feel that there's a lot of deep analysis, but it's sort of entertaining. As I said, offbeat, so we'll leave it at that. The Inside Line is another one of those would-be news channels. Now, I don't think they have any new news, but they don't make outrageous claims about, Mick Schumacher to Alpine. Confirmed! I think that's a reasonable news channel, so I'll just put them in. But there's nothing new, right? If you've seen the headlines on a website like Planet F1 or Autosport, you already know what's coming, the Inside Line, or if you just watch the Grand Prix, they talk about this stuff, so it's nothing much new. I'll just put them in the Orange Vest category. It's not essential viewing, let's put it that way. And then Abby It's Me is just a very small channel with a few clips. I'm just going to put them there. There's nothing much to say about them. Now, I just mentioned Autosport. Autosport is the big motorsport magazine. They have a website which is also comes under the banner Motorsport. So there's two websites, but it's exactly the same material, Autosport and Motorsport. I don't think it's, if you read this, I don't think there's anything particularly interesting going on, if I'm being honest. There's nothing here you're going to learn. If you watch the Grand Prix weekend, you will learn everything. Well, I don't think it's bad either. I mean, they are closely associated with the F1 and the motorsport world. As for the websites, I'm not particularly keen on the website. Sometimes they're a bit behind the news. I think the comments section on motorsport.com is pretty bad. So I'll just put them in the Orange Vest category. I don't feel like you need to go to the Autosport YouTube channel to learn something new. Okay, there's nothing there that's particularly revelationary, you know. But so I'm going to order these. I'll put Chef F1 at the back, and I'll probably put these two. There we go. The 107 podcast. Well, I want to start by saying that on YouTube there are a lot of podcasts, and they do a lot of talking, and sometimes, to be honest, it's quite boring. I don't think 107 is particularly boring. I don't have a lot of podcasts in this at the moment. Maybe later I'll add some more, but it's a bit hard, you know, to find time to listen to someone talking about the Monaco Grand Prix for an hour and a half, talk about the Canadian Grand Prix for an hour and a half. It's a little bit, I don't know. I already saw the race. I know what happened. Do I really need to hear a bunch of podcasters like reliving it over and over? Oh, this moment, you know, he could have overtaken him here, but he could have overtaken him there. I thought this driver would do a bit better, but they didn't. Oh, I know, it feels a little bit overkill for that, especially if you're listening for over an hour. So I'll put them in the homeless, but they're probably up there, probably about the same as Missed Apex. Okay, who have we got next? We've got Tomo next. Tomo is one of the most well-known Formula One YouTubers. I want to mention an incident that happened earlier this year where he used to appear on the Sky Sports F1 YouTube channel, sometimes talking with Karun Chandhok. There was a discussion before the pre-season predictions, and they started talking about, will Lewis Hamilton win a race this year? And Tom was like, no. And then Natalie Pinkham just went ballistic at the guy, you know. She's like, you can't say that. I thought you were one of us. And anyway, since that time, he hasn't appeared on the Sky Sports F1 YouTube channel since that time, as far as I've seen. And it feels like he's been replaced by Matt Gallagher. So I want to say that in his favour, that at least at that moment he's standing up for something he thought was true. But having said that, I find Tomo, he might be one of the most high profile YouTube channels, but I find him very corporate. I find that he's always like, hey man, hit the like, hit the subscribe. And he's always like advertising something. You know, when he has those chin wags, you know, you can pay to have your comment read out. So he'll have a little chat thing there. I don't know if you have to pay to enter the chat or not, but I know that if you pay him like a couple of dollars, or sometimes people pay him $5 or $10, he'll read out the comment live. I don't know. The guy's very corporate. At first I thought, he's one of the best YouTubers. Over time, I feel like it's a bit repetitive, you know. This weekend, my bangers, my clangers. And then after the weekend, these are my bangers, my clangers. And now let's compare it to your bangers and clangers. So for me, not really one of the Formula One YouTube channels to be really on the lookout for. Shall I put him in high orange vest or low white collar? It's probably top of the orange vest category. I think that's where he belongs. He could probably go the back of the white collar category too, but it is what it is. Now, we've got Arava here. Arava is like a lot of sim racing and sometimes does memes. Like he goes through the F1 memes. If memes are your thing, you might like Arava, but I find the memes a bit silly, so I'm just going to put him in the homeless category. Now, F1 Reverse, that's very similar to, you know, Formula One Madness and Champagne Podium, and there's more coming. F1 Reverse is like one of those channels that makes, you know, bold headings. You'll see the thumbnail, like bold heading and like, you know, Sergio Perez dropped, and then you'll go into the video. But sometimes, one thing in its favour, you actually see the person that makes the channel. He's a guy with a mustache. Sometimes he talks a bit. So for me, that's better than some of these other channels where, you know, you just hear the automated voice or the voiceover. So I'm going to give him a homeless rating. I'm putting him above some of these like Formula One Madness and Champagne and whatever. That's all. That stuff's really bad. This Formula One reverse has a little bit of personality. There's actually a human being. And then we come to something called Race Week Review. Now, Race Week Review is the most overlooked channel on YouTube. Now, granted, this guy's not what you call a Formula One channel. He's not a Formula One fan. He's a motorsport fan. He goes through all the motorsport categories, go through all of them, like F2, F3, Formula Regional, Formula 4, touring cars. This guy's across everything. So, IndyCar, Indy Next, all of this stuff. His appearance is a little bit deceptive. Whenever I see him, I'm expecting them to play Sweet Home Alabama. I'm expecting that song to play, and it doesn't. It's like, he's a very polite guy. He's very friendly in the video, very well spoken, very knowledgeable. Like, he knows, if you're watching a video by Race Week Review, his name's Marcel, and he says, oh, that's a good driver, listen, because if he watches all the series, all the races, and he knows who the good drivers are. He knows exactly who the best up-and-comers are by watching the races. You know, he has the understanding of, you know, yes, this driver's doing well, but his car's a little bit better than the competition. I know it's a spec series, but the team might be better. So he knows all that. So easily, I'm putting him above Harrison Turpett. He's going in the King rating. One of the absolute best YouTubers. He should have 1 million subscribers. He doesn't. But that's the way it goes. But that's why I'm here, to let you know. Now, going to the other end of it, we got the Formula One channel. Now, the Formula One YouTube channel is pretty close to my least favourite. For me, nothing spoils Formula One more than A, the highlights videos, and B, those silly videos where they get drivers to goof off, you know, like they're in some sort of game show or reality TV. I don't like that. I think that is making Formula One seem frivolous. But the worst thing is the highlights. I hate the highlights videos. Formula One is a sport where people watch and they focus, their attention gets drawn in for a period of time, like an hour and a half. You're there and you have to experience it that way. To me, it cannot be compressed into an 8-minute tidbit, an 8-minute throwaway, oh here, just a few minutes. That's not Formula One. You've got to experience the race as a whole. Like when you have a great Formula One race and you're watching it, there's a thing called swings and roundabouts, you know, which means the ebb and the flow. Like, this driver's doing well at this lap, and then his tyres started to go off, and then this driver behind him was starting to catch up. You've got to feel that. You've got to be drawn into it. And the highlights videos take away that. It just sort of reduces the whole point of Formula One. And so for that, I'm just putting this in the lowest category, the lowest. I don't want to give that category a name. I don't want to upset people, but to me, that Formula One would be so much better, you know, without all those highlights videos, silly interviews, and all that stuff. Sorry, but one thing, post-race, I think when you do get the highlights videos, The comments section is probably one of the best comments section. Comments section after most of the races this year on the F1 highlights videos. Yuki Tsunoda looks very popular. A lot of people are gunning for him, you know. Not many are gunning for his teammates. So I don't know where they get this marketing idea, but anyway. So we got Back of the Grid podcast next. So I told you about the podcast. They talk a lot for a long time. They go over the situations that happened in the Grand Prix over and over. Hard to watch, but Back of the Grid, they're friendly. Some of the podcasters are they come across as self-important, and the Back of the Grid are just sort of, you know, a bit more friendly, a bit more humble. I'll put them in the orange vest category. Somewhere there. Probably very similar to Chef F1. Now, PHM AIX Racing, so this is just a Formula 2, Formula 3 team. After the Formula 2 races, they put out moody videos from the garage like this is, and I think it's nice to capture that atmosphere. It's brief, you know, you don't have to sit there for 2 or 3 minutes to watch it, so I'll give them a Prince rating, but not the top. Like, there's nothing much to this channel, but it's nice, sort of captures the mood of a race weekend in a couple of minutes, so I like that. Now, Perspective is a sort of a would-be documentary Formula 1 maker. Doesn't talk about current events in Formula 1 much. He talks more about something that might have happened 10, 20 years ago. To me, that's a little bit disingenuous because a lot of it is like stuff we know from Wikipedia. But one thing going for Perspective is that it's very face-to-face. So I'll just probably put him right at the bottom of the orange vest category. I mean, he does talk about some interesting topics, especially he talked about Hockenheim, but you know, we have Wikipedia for that, so we sort of already know what happened. So do we need a 15-minute, 20-minute video about this stuff? I don't know. Now, the moving bricks, after the race you'll get a Lego recreation of what happened. To me, the only word I want to use for it is unnecessary, so I'm putting it here in this homeless category, but I'm going to move some of these down. Probably rather watch the moving bricks than, you know, these guys with their 20-minute videos. And yeah, GP Culture is just another one of those would-be news channels that invent stuff. Drive to Win is another podcast, but I think it's probably the best Formula 1 podcast out there. I'll put it up here. I'll move some of these back, like yeah. Drive to Win is a very good podcast. Sometimes they have good guests. They recently had Jacques Villeneuve, Stefan Johansson. I think it's probably the best Formula 1 podcast if you want to, like the ones that make the long videos, you know, they sit there and they chat about the last race for an hour or so, or the latest news on Formula 1. Now here comes a very popular channel called FP1 Will. He makes a lot of comedy. I don't know if I find him particularly funny myself. After every race I always see that thumbnail and the driver with the red eyes, you know, like they've got the Superman vision, they're going to laser vision or something, and I just feel like, oh, this again, you know, and I watch the videos and I don't think it's particularly informative, insightful. It's not that funny for me. I know everyone else seems to like it, so I'm the odd man out. Probably goes right at the back of the orange vest category, I suppose. So probably just above Perspective, so yeah. Aldas. Now, Aldas makes a lot of sort of would-be news videos or discussion on what's going around. I find his videos, you know, you just get a voiceover, you get stock footage I don't think it's very interesting at all. He's just surmising about what might happen, what's going on. I think that's very poor from someone that has over 100,000 subscribers. Like, you should be, making really good videos, not just, showing us some stock footage and saying, maybe in the future, Yuki Tsunoda might be racing for Red Bull. Like, there's more to it than that, right? So I'm just putting him in the homeless category above ESPN and Formula One reverse. If you've seen the headlines on, Planet F1 or Autosport, you know what's going on anyway. I don't need a 20-minute video from Aldas telling me in a automated voiceover, or maybe it's not automated, but it's not. It's a bit impersonal. Not that I'm always against the voiceover. I'm not, but Now WTF1 is a very famous, popular YouTube channel for Formula One. They have a million subscribers. They've undergone some personnel changes, I understand it. I think it's an okay channel. There's a lot of money goes into it to make it look glitzy. I'm just going to put it in the orange vest category, probably above Perspective. It's not one of the more entertaining ones, but it's okay. Just like the rating says, it's orange vest. It gets the job done, but that's about it. That's how I feel about all of these channels. They get the job done, nothing more. There's nothing stand out about them. As for Final Sector, they're not very well known. They're just a couple of... They're sort of like Australia's answer to, a podcaster. But I find them to be quite humble, and it's a friendly channel. They talk a bit, but I find that they're genuine motorsport fans. Sometimes they're really into the F2, like especially at the Imola weekend. Like, half their post-race video is dedicated just to F2, which I thought was good, because in Imola, like the F2 race, the sprint race anyway, was fantastic. The title race really became interesting after Imola, so I appreciate that. Sometimes they're a bit slow with uploading their videos. Like, you'll wait almost a week after the race happened. Then they're not much in the way of graphics, but I find the personalities are somewhat engaging, so I'll just put them in. They belong either in the top of the bottom of the prints or the top of the white collar. So I just put them here for now. I think that's fair enough. I do like to analyse the race. M-Rugby F1. Very independent, very offbeat, very unique insights. I like that. Makes a lot of cool videos. Sometimes I feel he goes off topic a bit, talking about other YouTubers or something. Well, obviously I'm doing that. So anyway, I'm just going to put him in the bottom of the Prince category. I think it's good for some insights. The insights are very good. Okay, his perspective is there, right? He really knows. Like, he got the right angle of what's going on, if you know what I mean, when he's looking at what's happening in Formula One. So I'll put him in the very bottom of the Prince category, but not his graphics aren't the best. So yeah. Now here's the American Formula One fan. I think since I was making this video, tried to start making this video, he became the American motorsports fan and lost interest in Formula One. His analysis post-race was okay. I just put him at the very bottom, even behind Perspective, in the orange vest category. Mr. V's garage is a strange one. He looks back at what's happening in Formula One and says, well, what if we did it this way? What if we did it that way? So he had, his most interesting video, in my opinion, when he said, what happens in Formula One if after every year the champion was banned, just like F2? So it's a bit revisionist history, but it's sort of looking at Formula One from a different perspective. So I think it's a little bit unnecessary, but it's an interesting discussion to have. So I'm going to put him right near the top of the orange vest category. Move some of these ones back, Yeah, something like that. Just back there with you lot. And then, yeah, Mr. V's Garage is interesting. The presenter is sort of engaging. He's got charisma. Then there's Max Polo. Max Polo is a very independent, not very well known YouTuber, but I actually like Max Polo. I find him more funny than say FP1 will. So he's either going the bottom of Prince or the top of White Collar. You know, like this guy has a nice, fast-paced style, real tongue-in-cheek, deadpan delivery. I really rate Max Polo. So he's not that insightful, but you know, he's making a fair point sometimes. So I know, just leave him here for now. I just want to go on now to the race. Actually, I'll skip these two for a sec. Possibly one of the most famous and highly subscribed to Formula One YouTube channels. Since they have over 1 million subscribers, I find that their content is very underwhelming. I feel like you have more than 1 million subscribers, we should be watching something very special. And what I'm seeing is a lot of, like I said with these other videos, like Formula One Reverse, there's a lot of stock footage, you know, footage from test sessions and practice sessions, and you know, footage of the drivers talking with their engineers, and a voiceover. If you have 1 million subscribers, I think that people deserve better. I don't think they have much to say that we don't already know. Of course, they know more perhaps than some of the other channels. They are in the paddock. They have a lot of knowledge of the sport, but at the same time, they don't really tell us anything new. If you see the news headlines for Formula One, you know, just check Planet, like I said, Planet F1. I know, terrible website, but you know, you got the idea, right? And the race doesn't bring much more. They're a little bit more insightful. So I'm just going to say, for a channel that big, you know, the people watching deserve better. I really have to say that. So I'm going to put them at the top, the very top of the orange vest category. They could have really good videos, and they have, as I said, stock footage, voiceovers. No, it's not really the be-all and end-all of F1 YouTube. F1 Off Track is another one of these would-be news channels that makes up stuff. Now, one of the most famous and popular YouTubers is Rocket Powered Mohawk. Even other YouTubers make videos about him. It's not one of my favourites at all. I find when you talk to, no matter who it is, when you're calling people spastic and window licker or latte sipping femboy, when you say things like that, it's what can I say? It's on the edge of bullying. I know that there's fair criticism to be had, there's discussions to be had, but using terms like that is, to me, that's a step too far. And as we've seen, that incites something in certain people to go on the attack, right? So some of his followers, Rocket Powered Mohawk followers, are like attacking other channels, saying, oh, you know, I saw a comment the other day, oh, this is Rocket Powered Mohawk if he was sniffing glue, you know. I don't, like, the guy's very entertaining, I'm not going to lie, and sometimes he does a little bit of investigative journalism and he's honest. Unlike some of these other YouTubers that pretend to be documentary makers, they're from Wikipedia, right? He's just done an internet search. He didn't. So I find that refreshing. He's very unique in his style, his approach. Sometimes he's very funny. I'm putting him at the back of White Collar. Here. The back of the White Collar. I know everyone else seems to like this guy. Now I put him next to, now there's as I said, sometimes other YouTubers make videos about Rocket Powered Mohawk. He's so popular, right? So, and there was a comment on one of the videos, oh, I wonder if there's someone who's the exact opposite of Rocket Powered Mohawk, like, you know, just the opposite of him. And so that's why I put him next to Sebastian here, because Sebastian, the word for him is very sincere. He likes to analyse and detail, like very analytical. His post-race analysis, he does a power ranking. He does this for Formula 1 and Formula E. He also does something for the Formula 2. His analysis is spot on, right? This guy is on the ball. He knows exactly what's happening. You get other channels, like websites, right? Like Planet F1, Motorsport, there's others. They always do the, after the race they have the driver ratings, and sometimes they have power rankings, right? And it's not accurate. It's like, hang on, that guy had a bad race. Why is he getting an 8? Or that guy drove really well. Why is he only getting a 6? This sort of thing. But Sebastian is always accurate. You know, like the guy knows exactly what's going on. He's clued into what's happening on track. The downcomings, such as, like, it's not one of the more entertaining channels. It's not very interactive. Like, you know, I said before, Tomo, you know, if you throw Tomo a few quid, he's going to reply to you. You just have to throw him a few quid. I think if you wired Sebastian, you know, $10,000, he still wouldn't reply to your comment on his channel. He's made his video, now he's moved on. So there's no interactivity here, but the analysis is good. He has a whiteboard, he does all the things on the whiteboard, so I find that it's one of the better channels, so I'm going to put him in the Prince category. Right here. There we go. There's Sebastian Racing. As I said, not the most entertaining channel, but very, very accurate in his insights. And as I said, opposite of Rocket Powered Mohawk, the exact opposite. Like, one is all, you know, he's like David Lee Roth, he's like popular and joking around. The other one's like just serious, and yeah, so that's where we're at. Yeah, I found that very interesting. And then we come to Mark Priestley. Now, Mark Priestley is a turned commentator. Maybe he was a mechanic before. After the race, he likes to share the latest rumours. Now, just recently after the Monaco Grand Prix, he had his video uploaded, and the thumbnail said, "And the latest rumours going around are ... And I thought, that's very condescending. That is very condescending, right? So you think your subscribers and the Formula 1 fans are like farm animals waiting for their feed, and you just like, "Hey everyone, I've got some rumours for you," and you throw it out, and we're all waiting there like, yummy, rumours, you know, like. And then the other question is, how much do you actually know, right? And do we really need to hear it? So there's a lot of these people trying to make a living from, you know, talking about what's happening in the Formula 1 paddock. So, but it's becoming sort of tiresome, you know, because the rumours going around keep circling and they stay the same, and no announcements happen. So anyway, I'm just putting this in the homeless category right there. I could probably go, I'm not bothered where he goes in front or behind, but it's not as bad as some of these ones coming up. Formula News Today is probably one of the worst, you know, inventing fake headlines channels. Pole Position is exactly the same. While we're at it, let's get Formula Action out of the way. They're all just, no. There's nothing there that's particularly interesting. Now we get Stop and Go F1. I like this channel because this guy is very friendly. He's just such a nice chap. He's sitting there and he's a real motorsport fan, you know. He's as much into F2 and F3 as he is F1. You know, if there's a great F3 race, and after the race he's there telling you how great it was. He does his post-race driver ratings. He's such a lovely chap. He's very generous with his ratings. He's friendly. He has good insights. A little bit like too much in the rose-tinted glasses. One of the best Formula 1 YouTubers, Formula 2 YouTubers. So I'm just going to put him here in the Prince category. between Sebastian and MREG F1. There we go, stop and go. And now we get Law VS. So Law VS puts out a lot of content. Now the guy's very charismatic. He's a little bit eccentric, like, I don't know if that's the right word, but you know, he likes to use props like standing on a ladder. He has big hair and it waves in the draft of the attic. Likeable to a point. I don't know how knowledgeable he is sometimes, but he makes a lot of content, and a lot of content about, you know, Ocon and science. It's a little bit repetitive as well. So to me, I'm not going to put him right up the top. He is likeable to a point. I don't know how knowledgeable he is sometimes, but I'll put him in this Prince category, but at the bottom, no. He's he's probably one of the more best all-round YouTubers. Now, Daily Fuel Up is a would-be documentary, Formula One documentary channel. They bring up events that aren't particularly interesting that happened in the past, or pretending that they've got some great secret to share. I'm just not. I don't want to talk about it. It's not particularly interesting at all. And Cruise F1, this is like sort of goggle box for Formula One. You see after the race, you know, different fans, and they're sitting on their couch or in front of their computer, and you see them reacting like, oh, like a lot of that happened at, after Melbourne when Max Verstappen retired because his brakes exploded, and you see all these reactions, people go. And to me, channels like this trivialise Formula One. I think, you know, this reality TV is a bit, I don't know, it's not my thing too, so it's probably better than all this stuff, so I'll just put it here. Like, oh, I'll put it at the top of Homeless, whatever. The bottom of Homeless, I mean. I'd rather listen to these podcasts and watch this. I actually did have another category between Homeless and our friend here, but I had to get rid of it for space sake. And I think Chris was in that originally, so yeah, it makes it a little bit hard. Now, I talked about would-be documentary makers. Aidan Millwood, like, when you watch his videos, it's like he knows a lot, right? And his videos are very well made, but I have to say a lot of the material comes straight from Wikipedia, you know, like, to me, I don't understand the concept of going onto Wikipedia and talking about something that happened 30 years ago and then pretending like, you know, unless you're just here for, you know, subscribers and income, because, you know, it's all there on Wikipedia, right? You just type in, you know, whatever, Formula One team, 1976 season, it's all there. There's links to the website, so you just have to read that and then you know it, and then you can make a video about it. Oh, this happened, and then, you know, you look very knowledgeable, but if it's from Wikipedia, well, I don't know. It's something that sort of we already knew, so I'll put him somewhere in the orange vest category. I think he's the best would-be documentary maker for Formula One. It's better than, say, Perspective. So I'll just, where did I put him? Here, next to Autosport, I guess. There we are, Aidan Millwood. It's not bad. I mean, some of his stuff's interesting. I suppose he went to the trouble to make the video, but at the same time, it's, if you've looked at different years in Formula One at the Wikipedia page, then you know most of the stuff that he talks about. So maybe he has a little bit more technical knowledge. So as I said, I put him there in the orange vest category. He gets the job done, but you know, it's not worth raving about. Now, I'll come to this. I put these two together for a reason. Now, this is Peter Windsor, and this is Cameron F1. So, after the races, Cameron F1 will have Peter Windsor as a guest. Now, like I said before, some of these podcasters and YouTubers have very prominent guests, even if they don't have a lot of subscribers. Cameron F1, when he talks, it's like a poem, you know, it's that nice rhythm. So for me, Cameron F1, just for that, he does try to be analytical. He's a little bit corporate too, like a lot of them, like Tom Owen, that, you know, you can pay him and he'll read out your comment, so in his live chats, but does less advertising, I suppose. So I think Cameron I think just because of the way he talks, and then he has Peter Windsor on, right? He's knowledgeable, but he can meander. He can get sidetracked talking about something, whereas when he's on with Cameron tries to keep him on topic, you know. So what about the race, Peter? Yes, well, I want to stop you there. What about the race that we just had? So I think Cameron together with Peter Windsor is a good combination. So Peter Windsor's own channel, I'll put him near the top of the orange vests. Okay. Oh, back of the white collar. Why not? Who cares? It's okay. There's space there. It's Peter Windsor, living legend. As for Cameron, I'm going to put him in the middle of the Prince category. So I'll move some of these back. I'll put him there. And the criticism is maybe he does too much content, like 3 videos a day, if you're really addicted to Formula One, like Cameron is, I suppose, good. He's always there to fill the void on the latest news, but sometimes too much content it's a bit overkill. As I said, he speaks nicely. Now I want to contrast here, right? Cameron F1, when you hear him talk, when compared to when you hear an Aldas or The Race or these other channels like Formula News Today, with that automotive voice, and in the third, and after, like that, compared to this guy takes so much effort to talk nicely. Now, as I said, with the Aldas has 100,000 subscribers, The Race has over 1 million. Why can't you give us a nice conversation? Hello, this is The Race, and here today, there's none of that. It's just, hello, this is The Race, and then in the latest news, and you don't really see the guys that much. It's just, as I said, a voiceover. So that's one thing I want to highlight why some of these channels are down here. Now, Crystal Racing is very independent, not very well known, very low-key setup. So I'll just put him here somewhere, like probably put him ahead of F1, American F1, because he's still there, right? He does a lot of videos, but it's very amateurish, even though his insights are good sometimes. Now, Feeder Series is sort of like Inside F2, but they cover more series, right? Inside F2, like the name suggests, is about Formula 2. Feeder Series covers, Formula 4, Formula Regional, Formula 3, all this stuff. So they sometimes have good guests like Martinius Stensoni. I have to say that the quality is a bit poor. The qualities of the videos are like, I think Inside F2 is more sharp, more fast-paced, whereas Feeder Series, they tend to, the conversation doesn't move along quite as nicely. It's not quite a discussion. They sort of get random guests, put them on the chat, and then hope that it all works out. But it's not as satisfying. I'll put it in the back of the white collar. On the good plus side, they have good guests, but on the minus side, not well put together. It doesn't all gel well. So I'll have to put them in the white collar category. Mitsos is an interesting one, very different from all these other channels. He just does hot laps. He does all the tracks that are not in Formula 1, as well as the ones that are in Formula 1. If you're curious about any track in the world, he's done a hot lap on it, right? Montjuic or Bathurst or the old Nürburgring. I think he's done the old Nürburgring, or some of the fictional tracks. He's done a lap around a proposed layout of Qiddiya, the upcoming Saudi Arabian circuit. He's done tracks that aren't in Formula One maybe should be, like Balloton Park, Slovakia Ring. So this is very different. This is, to me, it's a very, very good channel to watch. And the graphics, Assetto Corsa, are so lifelike. So I'm just going to put him up here in the Prince category. Move some of these down a bit. Okay, Mitsos. Alright. Mitsos, one of the best channels to watch. It's brief, you get all the tracks, some of the fantasy ones as well. Very good channel. Now, coming to Josh Revell, very similar to Aldas Perspective. Aidan Millwood, a would-be documentary maker, talks about various things that have happened before, you know, like the 10 worst circuits in F1, or well, he did a video on Antonelli. Now, I mean, I've seen one of his chats on Feeder Series, which I just mentioned, and in real life, the guy's very charismatic, but in his videos, it feels like he's put his voice through an automated machine, or his delivery is not particularly sparkling. Like, you watch the video, and in 2018, they staged at the Yangam circuit, and it was not a good race, like something like that. Not a very engaging delivery. So for that, I'm just going to put him at the very back of the orange vest category, and some of his content is, as I like to say, unnecessary. Lollipop Man. Now, Lollipop Man, interesting one. He does cartoons after the race. You see the drivers, they have their helmet on, but they're not in the car, they're running like this, and funny things happen. I think it's one of the more interesting ones. It's a bit frivolous, but it's sort of funny. Unlike the Moving Bricks, there's a lot of original ideas here, so I'm going to put him in the white collar category, probably somewhere around here. Push these ones back a bit. Feeder Series, Windsor, RPM, Sky Sports. It's probably a good one to watch for a chuckle after the race. But if it's really not your thing, it's not your thing, you know. Raymond Hill is a sort of the beginnings of one of these would-be sort of documentary style YouTubers, but he's not as established as, say, Josh Revell. His content's not as good, so I'll just put him at the top of this category here. Kim Illman, he's a photographer turned commentator. I watched a couple of his videos. He waffles. It's not particularly interesting, his content. It's more about the side show. So I'll just put him here. This one of the lower categories. Mufsy Racer, or MUFC Racer. I think that means Manchester United Football Club. That's an interesting one. This guy's very man in the street, independent, sort of amateurish, but I just like his no-nonsense delivery, straight up, you know, after the race, you know, oh, that was terrible from this driver, and no sugarcoating at all in this channel. I think it's one of the best ones, simply because there's no attempt to be commercial or to try and play to an audience. It just says, this is what I think, man, and that's it. So I think it's hard to beat this channel for commentary. I'm going to put him somewhere near the top of the Prince category. Who can I move back? I'll move that back. Move these ones back a bit. Probably put Stop and Go. Oh no, Stop and Go. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. Probably here. There's somewhere. Mufsy Racer, like very, why is Pro still in this car? Doesn't make sense. Oh, the pre-race show was so bad from Sky Sports F1. Why are we paying for this? You know, that sort of stuff. I have to say, well, let's talk about Tactical Rab, right? When you see the thumbnails for Tactical Rab, you think, okay, this is one of those clickbait channels where they talk about, oh, this is going to happen, that's going to happen. And Tactical Rab is a little bit like that, yes. You watch his videos, he's always honest about where he gets his sources. He tries to use reputable sources. He talks about everything, right? This guy is like a Formula One rumours savant. His videos are all the same length, like almost always between, say, 16 and 20 minutes. And he's there every day going, "Alright guys, well the latest news is, Saints might be signing for Williams. We've got here from AMUS Sport, and it says, look, it could be a 4-year contract with a clear clause, and then we're talking about Esteban Ocon to Haas from Dallas Sport and Attorney, and it might be true, might not be true," and like there for 20 minutes telling us everything. Right, so in a 15 to 20 minute video, this guy will fit in more news than the whole of Autosport, Planet F1, the race. They have like just a little bit. This guy in that brief video will fit in all the news, all the latest rumours, everything that's going on. He does it with a very fast pace, a lot of energy. So I have to say, I think that's probably the best Formula One YouTube channel is Tactical Rab, because I know some people don't like the channel, but I don't really know why. If you actually watch it across all his sources, right? I know a lot of it comes from formerly known as Twitter, but the thing is he's across every source on F1, and actually if something's going to happen, a major news announcement, somehow he'll know about it before the big news channels. So I don't think you can beat Tactical Rab unless you don't want to hear rumours, and then maybe you're like, oh well, I don't want to hear it. I think it's the best YouTube channel there is, right? If you just watch his channel, you don't need to watch the others, because he's just telling you he's on the cutting edge of all the latest rumours and news that's out there. And the others are just speculating, they're surmising, they're analysing, okay? He's ahead of the curve, and I like that. That's really good. Now he does one video a day. Some of the others are a little bit too much, and it's just a lot of commentary. Now, Raz on F1 I don't want to talk much about. I just want to give it a ranking. Probably put it above some of these. Right here somewhere. And I'll move some of this down. I don't really care. I think, yeah. Formula Bone. He's another American Formula One commentator. Moderately entertaining. Not particularly insightful. A little bit. I think it's very fair to put him in the orange vest category. Probably above some of these. Come to think of it, I don't mind putting Chef F1 at the back. I'll save some of the best and some of the worst for last. Mostly the worst. So, Logan Reed. Logan Reed, before the races, he'll do the pre-race predictions. After the race, he does the post-race power rankings. Like Sebastian Racing, this guy is very, very much like on the ball. Like, he does the power ratings and rankings after the race, and they're so accurate. He has a thing called analytics, has these spreadsheets. He tries to figure out where the drivers will be at the end of the race. And I know it's not accurate, but when you consider all the other predictions that go on, his are probably the most accurate. In 2023, his Formula 2 predictions were spookily accurate. He predicted Teo Pacher would win the championship. He predicted Jack Doohan would finish third. He predicted that Victor Martin would finish fifth. He predicted that Ollie Behrman would finish sixth. He did that in February 2023. His analytics are very good, right? He's one of the best YouTube channels. So if you just want the post-race ratings and rankings, you cannot beat Logan Reed. It is just superb. So I'm putting him right there in the king list. Now, if you think about kings, there's not many kings in the world. You have to be a part of a small select group to make the kings rating. You know, they're the best YouTube channels you're going to get. Sensational channels to watch. They add to your enjoyment of Formula One. F1 Fanatics, isn't it? That's one of those would-be news channels. Troll F1 Memes is very, I don't know, what can I say? It's just a lot of memes. It's a little bit silly, so I'll just put it here. Move some of these back. Like, don't really care where they go. As I said, not many channels end up in the king rating, and not many channels end up in the lowest rating. Now, this channel is all like, you know, conspiracy theories. Now, I'm not against conspiracy theories per se, but when you keep harping on about one thing all the time, and when you don't understand the purpose of sport, and a sport like Formula One, right? Why do we watch sport? Okay, because from Monday to Friday, we're leading our lives, going to work. Maybe we feel stress, maybe we feel boredom, these sort of things. Maybe we have financial problems. We read the news, it's more stress, there's wars, and then we think, oh, the weekend, we're going to watch our favourite sport. You know, I'm going to watch my favourite driver drive. I'm going to watch my favourite team, my favourite football team, or my favourite tennis player. You know, that from my country, they're going to win the match, and we're going to be happy. You know, like that's sport, especially a sport like Formula One, is a distraction from the trials and tribulation of everyday life. But for someone like Fixed F1, everyday life is quite relaxing, and Formula One is very stressful. Like, this guy cannot enjoy the sport at all. Like, you're being lied to. The races are being fixed. You cannot trust them. There's fraud. So, I'm going to put him in the bottom category. And it's funny that he's next to the main Formula One channel in my view. It's almost like I partly agree with him, and I think it's healthy to have a bit of cynicism about things. I don't know if cynicism's the right word, but it's healthy to be, you know, understanding, right? Especially, I think with Formula One, a lot of the commentary, a lot of the news that you get coming out is looking for clicks rather than looking for accuracy. Okay? I think there's a point there, but that's on us how much of that we want to consume, you know. We don't have to consume. We don't have to be waiting with bated breath for every article that might come out speculating where some driver might be next year. Because I think some teams or some people in the paddock are good at sort of just making it seem like things are happening. It's not lying, it's just, I think a good example is in Imola, was it? Valtteri Bottas went to the Williams garage, and then, you know, there's a bit of a media storm. Oh, Bottas is going to go to Williams. He went and met James Vowles. Oh, he went to the Williams hospitality unit. And I think sometimes, right, he didn't have to say anything. Vowles didn't have to say anything, and yet people are talking about it. And at the end of the day, they want people talking about it. Williams want social media to talk about them. Bottas wants social media to talk about him, and just that something small like that can have a ripple effect, and people click, people talk, videos are made, and then that's probably the desired outcome, you know. But as I say, that to me, that's on the consumer. You have a choice as a consumer on online content, what you're going to spend your time reading, and watching and listening to. So to me, it's back onto the person who's watching. Now, Formula Today is another one of those would-be, sensationalist clickbait channels. We've got a few left. Lee F1 Talk, I'm just going to add that there. That's another one of those channels. Verstappen. There's a couple of channels on YouTube. I briefly mentioned Abby It's Me, where they'll just take a few clips from something that might have been on the Sky Sports or the Formula One channel. So Verstappen, famous because there's a clip where Max Verstappen is in the simulator and his stepdaughter is trying to get his attention and he's trying to ignore her. He's like focusing, and that clip has millions of views. So that's why there's this channel, right? Just to be aware, when you're watching these clips, like, people are they want the likes, they want the clicks, they want the subscriptions. That's what they're after. They're not really there to provide you with anything else. But I don't know. Not applicable F1 is discussion. I don't want to talk too much about him. He's not too bad, but it's not particularly interesting either. So I'm just going to put him in the orange vest category. F1 Alpaca is another one, but he doesn't put out too many videos. I think it's in the plus side. Some of them put out too much content. I'll put him here. But he's above some of these. Let's say I'll move this down to there, that down. F1 Alpaca can go there. He did a good video about Paul Aron recently, but anyway, I like that sort of thing, right? You got to pick out the news that other people aren't talking about, I suppose, if you're a good F1 YouTuber or F2 YouTuber, as it were. Wonderful makes videos basically having a go at anyone that he thinks doesn't like Lewis Hamilton. I think it's a bit pointless, so I'm going to put him at the bottom. It's a bit mean, some of his content, having a go at certain people. Oh, Dan No Skill. Now, Dan No Skill is, he makes quite good videos. The problem is, doesn't make enough videos, but his videos are quite good, so I'll put him in the white collar category. The nice, fast-paced, entertaining videos, so I'm happy with that. The F1 Word is one of those channels that is a would-be news channel. They don't really have anything new that you don't already know. It's the voiceover and the stock footage. Behind the driver is exactly the same. So I'm going to put both of these here, the back of the homeless rating. They're not sensationalist like some of them. They're just, there's nothing really to them. So there's nothing new. It's just trying to grab attention because they're talking about Formula One, but there's no analysis, there's no discussion. They're just saying, this is happening, that's happening, voiceover. So nothing particularly interesting. My tier list stops here. I'm going to add more later on. I just need time to watch some of the podcasts. It's a bit hard to get into some of these podcasts. You start a Formula One discussion video and they're talking about the same thing over and over for over an hour, but that's where we're at. So hopefully I can add more, but to summarise, the ones at the top are either more insightful, or they're more unique, or they're more energetic, or they're more charismatic, and the ones at the bottom tend to have not monotonal voices that talk on and on. Nothing new, nothing interesting, and then there's a lot in the middle as well. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you got some insight. That's what I'm after. Now, before I go, I realise I want to rearrange some of the videos in the Prince category. So I'm just going to move up Stop and Go F1. That's a very good channel to watch, actually. So he's going up here. And I'll move Sebastian down because, as I said, he's not very interactive. He's not very entertaining, but he is very good at his analysis. Stop and Go is quite good at the analysis too. He has quite a nice, engaging personality. Inside F2, visualised. Where will I put them? I'm going to bring them back up. Don't worry. I'll put Stop and Go F. No, it's not quite that good. I'll probably put Cameron. Cameron is very good to watch. Stop and Go, MUFC, Inside F2. I'll probably put Visualised here somewhere. And I'll probably swap Sebastian back in front of Mitsos. And yeah, so to me that's the final order. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.